Okay, today we are playing a game on Watchpoint Gibraltar. We are playing Soldier 76 the entire way through, and this is actually a quick play game, so it's not a competitive game, and as a result, we don't really care about our team comp because it doesn't particularly matter. Not that it usually matters that much anyway. But suffice to say, our current team comp is terrible, but also acceptable. It's not like the average quick play game where it's like Widowmaker, Hanzo, Tracer, Genji, Mei, Zenyatta, you know? It's like actually Reinhardt and Ana, so it's got a tank and a healer, which is incredible, honestly. So we're just gonna start the game straight away. So this is also only one half. It's not two games stapled together to look like a competitive game. So this is gonna be pretty short, but that's probably fine because we also did a Soldier on Gibraltar game yesterday because I'm bad at scheduling things. So variety is not really there right now. So standing up here with our team, as you generally want to. Junkrat's going to perform an illegal maneuver here where he sprints directly at us, and he is now dead because he is not allowed to do that, but he did it anyway. I don't know what the plan was, but he looked like he had a plan, so, you know. So, put the biotic field down very early because nobody's actually taken any damage. I don't know if you put it down as a response to seeing Junkrat running directly at you, but wouldn't really worry about it. It's a Junkrat running straight at you. So we've put our biotic field down for not that much reason. Some people actually do take damage, so it kind of helps, but it's not really like a good use of the cooldown, which is incredibly long. It's one of the longest cooldowns in the game, beaten only by Sonic Arrow, which is 20 seconds. Yeah, sounds about right. Very long. So there's a Sombra behind us as well, and she actually got pretty close to killing us, which is surprising. Now that she's disappeared out of your line of sight, don't worry about it anymore, because just, like, keep in mind that she's back there, and, like, be listening for her and paying attention, but don't invest this much time looking for her, because she's, like, gone off to do her own thing. She's probably gone off to, like, hack the large health kit in the server room and put a translocator next to it. So just come back over to shooting these guys, and keep in mind that she's behind you, and, like, be listening for her. So our team is down here performing various illegal maneuvers for which, you know, is generally to be expected. We are now performing an illegal maneuver because we have just jumped off the high ground, which is not what we want to do. We want to still be up there, and we could have done exactly what we did there, still up on the high ground, because we could have just looked over the edge and shot down at the Sombra. And now we're all, you know, our team's going up here, so we're going up there with them. We don't want to be doing that, we just want to still be standing up on the ledge, because it's really far away, it's high ground, it's harder for them to get to us. Junkrat's still doing this, which he's not really allowed to be doing, and he's now dead. Got kind of close to killing us, but he didn't actually kill us. And we've now almost got Tac Visor built up, which is great. Mei has actually, like, been very inconvenient, because these walls have actually been blocking some of our own line of sight as well. We saw Sombra coming, so we've waited for her. Now she's dead. Awesome. Hit her direct on with the Helix rocket. Mei is now over there ulting, which is also an illegal maneuver. You can just hop on the side of this here, doodad. You can jump on the side of that and then hop up. You don't need a Helix jump up there. So we've come down here. We put the biotic field down next to Ana, which is, I mean, good practice. I tried to push the arrow key, but, like, my keyboard's currently broken and unplugged, so that's not going to work. Ana's actually the only healer on the team, so this is good because she needs the healing. But then just go back up on the high ground behind you, because we still want to be up on the high ground, because that's just generally where Soldier wants to be. You said in your email that you generally play Zenyatta, and you'd like to know more about how to play Soldier at a platinum level. It's convenient that you play Zenyatta, because their playstyles are very similar. They both want to be really far away up on high ground, generally. Soldier is, of course, more aggressive than Zenyatta, because he's a DPS hero, but generally, how you would position a Zenyatta is how you also want to be positioning a Soldier. You know, far away, usually up on high ground. So, we're using Tac Visor right now, and we're just sort of running after people. That's fair enough. Diva was in the way, but there was a fight happening, so, and then she didn't really put much effort into blocking us anyway, so this is still all very much an illegal maneuver to be pulling off. Like, our entire team, you know, this is a quick play game, so this is not exactly surprising to see. Oh god. Suddenly dying. There goes Reinhardt. Goodbye, my friend. Did Winston also throw himself off? He did. Incredible. I was like, he should have landed. Where did he go? And then we killed ourselves with our Helix rocket. So, great. Awesome. 3 people killed themselves back to back. We don't want to be over there. We just want to still be up on the high ground, back where we started the game, basically the entire time. There was really no reason for us to jump down at any point, other than to put the biotic field down with Anna because she was half HP. Other than that, we want to just be up there the entire time. We could have seen and done everything that we were still doing, with the exception of the thing that got us killed, which is going around the side and fighting those people. We could have done everything else from up on the high ground, but we'd be much safer while we're doing it. Which is generally Soldier's thing. Soldier is at his weakest when he's, like, point blank with the enemy. Soldier is a mid to long range hero, so we want to be really far away. Winston currently on us, not that scary, but we do wait a while to put down the biotic field. We had it up, right? I'm not, yeah, we came back. Like, as soon as this dude is on you, just, like, put the biotic field down and start fighting him, because he's, like, doing this, and that's, like, real annoying. He actually could have killed you, because you dropped down to 25 HP. Yeah, he could have actually killed you if he punched you, so you want to put it down, like, as soon as the dude is on top of you, so that you don't get, you know, risk of dying. Risk of dying is generally best minimized. So Mercy's ended up in an awkward location, and we're trying to kill the Mercy. She's figured out there's a doorway behind her, so she's now disappearing. Not exactly the best pizza toss I've ever seen from a Junkrat right there. So we decide to use Tac Visor. Probably not really the time to use it anyway. I mean, I know why you're using it. You've seen, like, 3 squishy people. But the thing is, these people could all get behind cover really easily, because Mercy could just whoop back in there, and then Baby Diva and Junkrat could just disappear back down in here, and you would not be able to kill them anymore. So this is a bad time to use it because the enemy team is close to ways they can get out of line of sight. But we're also below half HP while we're activating it, which is generally really easy to get killed. You usually don't want to activate, like, any ult when you're half HP, because you're very likely to just get blown up and killed. Unless, I mean, you know, it was like Primal Rage, you know, yeah, or like Transcendence, but like, you know, Tac Visor, Death Blossom, all those, not so much. So this is gone. Like, don't even try. Like, don't even come out here because it's super gone. Don't put your biotic field down there either, because you could have just ran away from that dude and you've had to leave your biotic field behind, having done nothing with it. You are not actually, like, gonna stay there and fight, so you don't want to put it down there, because you want to put it down somewhere where you're actually gonna be in a fight with someone so you can benefit from the healing and not just have to leave it behind. So we have Tac Visor built up still, because we died really quickly. So we want to get up onto the high ground and use it. We're coming up around this side. We're getting... looks like we're trying to flank right now, basically. We catch Sombra and, like, fuck up her stealth, but, I mean, whatever. So we don't want to be over here. We want to be over on these catwalks over here, because these are... you can see all of the entrances into the hangar from these catwalks. If you're on this side, you actually can't see the right-hand side. From that perspective, the left upper door properly, because this is going to be slightly in the way, but you can still see it. You can see all the entrances. You can't get flanked because there's no side path in to the hangar, so you can see everything. You can pressure the entire hangar floor from these catwalks, and it's really hard to get to you. This is also a bad catwalk to stand on because of how easily you can be surprised up here. Because there's this staircase behind you. They can walk in the door underneath you and get up this staircase, and they'll be right on top of you. And they can walk out the door behind you that you just walked through, and they'll be right on top of you. And then if you have to run away, you've got to go like that, which is really... or like that. Both of which are really tragic. So we don't want to be up on this catwalk, if at all possible. We'd much rather be over here. The one that we can't see on the right-hand side is also okay, because it's harder to get taken by surprise over there, and if you get surprised, you can just go over this way. But we don't want to be over on these catwalks, really. We want to be over here, so we can see all the entrances and pressure the entire hangar floor. Because that's basically what Soldier's about. You want to give... because, there's I've just banged the table, so that probably sounded awesome. Because there's the idea of the zone of threat, right? Which is just the range in which you are most effective. Like, Reinhardt's zone of threat is right on top of him, because he's a melee fighter. And and then kind of like a cone out in front of him if he has Earth Shatter. But basically his zone of threat is like point blank, because he's melee. Soldier's zone of threat is his entire line of sight, because he's a long-range hero. So you're really just looking for the place on the map that gives you the most coverage, because you threaten the entire space that you can see. So that's why we want to be over there. We can threaten the biggest area possible. So we use Tac Visor over here. Mercy's really upset about that one because she just floated up there and got killed. We then jump down off the high ground, which is generally ill-advised also, and we end up sort of point-blank fighting a Junkrat, which is very much helping Junkrat because he doesn't take damage from his own explosions, so the closer you get to Junkrat, the easier you're making it for Junkrat. I'm somewhat curious if, after they change Junkrat, he's gonna turn into some kind of weird melee assassin. Like, I don't know, that can also, like, kind of threaten an area. I don't know, Junkrat's weird. So we've jumped off the high ground. That was probably accidental, and we are now going back up again. Cancelled our reload a few times right there. There is this thing with Soldier that I probably should mention. Don't really worry about this while you're learning to play Soldier, but I'm gonna mention it anyway. When you're reloading your weapon as Soldier, you, like, slam the clip in, and then, but it actually reloads when you put the clip in, and then there's an extra, like, half second where the gun is cocking. You can cancel that part of the animation by sprinting, using your Helix Rocket, or putting your Biotic Field down. So, it is more efficient to try and interrupt the reload as it is, because you can shave, like, half a second off of it. Don't worry about that too much while you're learning how to play Soldier, but you can get slightly more efficiency out of him by canceling the reload with your abilities. So we're back up here again. There's Sombra. Just shoot your rocket down at her when she's like half HP, because, like, the idea is probably, I tried to push the key again, but the keyboard is broken. The idea is probably to try and execute her with it. There is a general practice with Soldier where you should just use your rocket as soon as you can. A lot of Soldier players just sit on the rocket cooldown for a really long period of time. Soldier's thing is about doing as much consistent DPS as possible, and this is only a damaging ability. It has no utility attached to it. So you just kind of want to use it as frequently as possible. Like, as soon as you think you can hit somebody with it, you hit them with it. If like a Reinhardt, just throw the Helix Rocket into the barrier, bam, that's 120 damage off the barrier right there, just for the right click, which is just more damage over time, which is Soldier's thing. With Sombra, we do kind of want to try and execute her, so that, she can't use her translocator, because she's usually going to wait to get to, like, half HP, and then translocate away. But in general, if you think you can hit something with your Helix Rocket, just use your Helix Rocket. It's only a damage ability, there's no utility attached to it, so there's no need to, like, sit on it as a treasured cooldown. So, their Mercy just solo res Sombra, which probably means Sombra has Emp, because why would you ever solo res a Sombra that didn't have her ultimate, right? So, that's kind of spooky. At the same time, though, our whole team is so spread out, there's no way she actually gets, like, a decent Emp on anyway, so didn't need to come over here to get this, really. Could have just been out there still fighting, but we're about to lose this checkpoint, so what you really want to be doing is leaving. Because the thing is with this checkpoint is you can really get fucked if they capture this checkpoint at an inconvenient time, because you have to go a really long way to get back to safety. Like, if they capture this right as you respawn, right? That you respawn and then they capture it a half second later, you usually die coming out of the spawn because you have to go so far. So if you're in this kind of position, which you're usually going to be, if they've gotten it like up here, you're going to be up here usually. As soon as you think they're going to take it, unless you can make some kind of hero play, which you're generally not going to be able to, just start leaving as soon as possible, because you don't want to get caught on this area after they capture the checkpoint, because you're pretty fucked. If you can't get away, go jump off the cliff on the left-hand side out the door, because if you know you're gonna die, just go jump off the cliff, because then you don't give the enemy team any ult charge. In general, if you are pretty certain you are gonna die, try to kill yourself, if at all possible, so that you don't give the enemy team ult charge. So, their Mercy's over here. Mercy hasn't noticed us. We didn't quite kill the Mercy. Could have fired the Helix Rocket into her and killed her, so, you know. Or you shot her in the head a little bit more. Sombra tried to fight us. Sombra did not get away with that one. We don't really... This is a very awkward position to be in, but, like, our whole team is down here throwing ultimates down and shit, so, you know, whatever. We're getting away with it. We can hear Lucio grinding, and we got Lucio right there. This is the time you take this time to get over here, because you don't want to be over on this area. You will very easily get cut off from your team on this side of the map. So, now that you've got time to just, like, go across, just go across. Because we don't want to be over here. If they start, like, if they get any kind of momentum at all, you're gonna be, their team is gonna be in between you and your team, and you don't want that, so this is, like, the perfect time to reposition. And we stay over here for a while, so, also, we've got some of the, like, pretty sick high ground coming up, because there's, like, that high ground over on the left-hand side, which is really hard to get people off of, usually. So we're in here, still fighting, as is May, as is Reinhardt. This is not legal, this is in no way a legal maneuver, but we're playing quick play, so, you know, this is not exactly surprising either. Are we waiting for Sombra? I keep trying to push the key, even though the keyboard's broken. Are we waiting for Sombra right now? What are we doing right now? Because that just happened. Well, we found Sombra. I don't know what we were doing right there, really? Like, why did we decide to do this? Go back further. What's, did we hear something? Let me put the other ear on. If we heard something, you got better ears than me, because I didn't hear it, so I'm not sure what we're doing. I mean, the way it all works out, it kind of looks like you knew Sombra was coming, but I don't know how you knew Sombra was coming, so, I don't know. Because the thing is, while we were doing that, Reinhardt landed his Earth Shatter over here, and we didn't take advantage of it at all. Like, he's just knocked down, like, a lot of people on their team, it looks like, and we don't do anything. Unless we're waiting to try and, like, flank them with Tac Visor, in which case don't do that, because it doesn't usually work out very well. It's just very odd, because, like, that happened over there, and we didn't capitalize on it at all, so I'm just a little confused as to why. Don't use Tac Visor if they get pulled into the Graviton. It kind of happens at roughly the same time, so I'm not going to belabor it too much, but if they're, because you might have, like, realized right as you did it, but, if they're in the Graviton, there's no point in using Tac Visor, because they aren't moving, so the aimbot is not particularly helpful, really, you can just shoot into them. At the same time, though, it does feel really demoralizing to have 9 ultimates thrown on top of your face like that. So we're still not allowed to be in here. We are still in here, and we've now jumped down off the high ground, so, go back on the high ground. Our team has decided that we're fighting in the hangar, so we're fighting in the hangar, but this is not really okay at all. This is quick play, though, so this is not it's not surprising that this is happening. They are also making no attempt to get us off of here at all, which is, I mean, fantastic news, so... This is one of the things with Soldier that's really cool, is if the enemy team has no interest in getting you off of the high ground, you get to just kind of win the game, because a soldier just sitting up on the high ground uncontested is so much pressure that you usually will just, like, win the game. Soldier players don't appreciate how strong high ground is. Like, there are people who play Soldier, like, when I say, like, Platinum and below, if they just stood on the high ground, they would probably be in Platinum, because people don't appreciate how strong high ground is in this game, and so, there are so many people who will just not contest you, and you'll get to just sit up there, shooting down at people, and you'll just win the game. It's just... Soldier is one of those heroes where if you're playing him correctly and the enemy team has no interest in countering you, you can just kind of win, because you apply so much pressure by doing it. It's like if there's like a bastion that's just uncontested, right? So now Winston has jumped on us, and that's where we see why it's so scary, because, well, we had to run away. We had to run away a really long way, and we got pretty fucked up, especially since he came up with the Mercy. So... as soon as they did start contesting us, it all fell apart, because that's a really dangerous place to stand when that checkpoint's been taken. So, but they got there eventually. They figured it out in the end. So it sounds like Mei just threw her ult at them, but like our entire team is dead, so I'm not sure if I'm crazy, but I swear to God I just heard Mei use her ultimate. So most of our team is currently dead, which is really inconvenient. This is also the bad thing with dying over there, is it's quite punishing, because they got to just push it up the hill for free. They were contesting us up there, which is very scary. We're coming back up here again. Which, I mean, yeah. We did hear a Sombra uncloak behind us, and we didn't turn around. I wouldn't assume she was up there with you, but we heard a Sombra uncloak behind us, we could have turned around and addressed that. Oh, guys, this is a really awkward situation. You've got your Helix rocket up way sooner than that. Just use the Helix rocket. Actually, am I crazy? No, you've got it out. Like, just bam, shoot her. Could have killed her faster than that and taken way less damage from her. Also, general thing while you're in this kind of duel, I mean, you're dueling an unusual person, but if you're in this kind of duel, we're basically just running towards the left and hopping over and over and over again. That's, like, the worst juking possible, because the thing is, the more times you jump, that doesn't actually make you harder to hit. It actually, the more times you jump back to back, the easier it becomes to hit you. Because when you jump, you're locked into the arc. So if the person's paying attention, as soon as you jump, it's way easier to shoot you because they know where you're gonna go, because you can't alter your momentum in the air. When you're in this kind of duel, it's better to just, like, go AD, like, strafe back and forth on the spot and, like, crouch and uncrouch. That's way less predictable and way harder to hit than just, like, running around, jumping everywhere. And I'm not saying never jump, but, like, don't just do the thing we've done here where we just are running in one way, jumping over and over and over again, because that actually makes you really easy to hit. We're also running in, like, one direction, which also makes you easier to hit. Granted, we do also just kind of want to kill Mercy, but if you're in that kind of situation where you're dueling someone, don't, like, it's way easier to see from D.Va's perspective. It's like, well, that's actually really easy to hit if you're just watching for the person jumping. And the more times you jump, the more the person will be looking for you jumping. Assuming they're paying attention. The great equalizer is that they might just be bad. So, you know. So we're sort of waiting. It looks like we're biding our time to use our ultimate. Just get out there and start shooting at them, dog. Like, Soldier's thing is doing as much consistent DPS as possible, so you're really looking for maximum uptime. You don't want to do weird flanking stuff, because it just really fucks with your uptime, and, like, the amount of time it takes you to get in position to do some kind of flanking thing, or the amount of time you have to spend waiting, especially since it's so much harder to do as Soldier and less consistent, you're better off just shooting at their front line, doing as much damage as possible, which is just Soldier's thing in general. So here's the play of the game. It's, you know, this is not exactly surprising now, is it? I didn't really actually have that much claim to it, but he hit everybody the most, so he gets to have it. So, you know, pretty short game. So there was something in the email. It wasn't really a question, but I'll address it really quickly anyway. Please let me know anything I should be more mindful of if I want to play Soldier to Platinum level. I'm trying to increase my character pool to be more flexible. Would like to know mainly about ult usage and team positioning. You also mentioned in your email that you play Zenyatta. Just stand as you would when you're playing Zenyatta, and you're basically doing it. You want to be as far back as possible, preferably on high ground, because that gives you the most coverage. So it's convenient you play Zenyatta, honestly, because you can sort of stand in all the same places. They're closer in playstyle than you would imagine, though Soldier is more aggressive. And with ult usage, we kind of talked about this yesterday in greater detail, so if you would like more detailed explanation, I would say go watch the video I uploaded yesterday, which was also Soldier on Gibraltar, where it's like right at the start, there's a big thing about ult execution. But basically, the big things are try and stand on high ground, because you could have got more coverage. It's harder for people to get out of the way. Resist the urge to jump off of the high ground when you use it, unless you've got a good reason to do so, like everybody's disappearing out of line of sight. Because you don't want to leave high ground unless you have a really good reason. Wait until some people are out of position, because you don't want them to be near cover or near a barrier that they can just disappear behind, because then you'll put it on and they'll just be like, oh, well, fuck, I'm gonna get out of the way. It's like King's Row. The second point and third point are really bad for Soldier, because you almost can't be away from cover on those maps, so it's really hard to use TAC Visor well on those maps. So wait until people are out of position and use it to punish them. And be mindful of whatever the enemy team's main tank is, because whatever it is kind of affects how you have to use it. Because if it's D.Va, you have to play around Defense Matrix. If it's Winston, you have to play around his bubble. And if it's Reinhardt, you have to play around his barrier. So, you know, there's more detail in yesterday's video, so if you want a more elaborate explanation, go watch that one, but those are the broad strokes. Play around whatever the enemy team's main tank is, because all of their barriers function differently. Use it from high ground if possible, wait until people are out of position. Anyway, no, like, the most glaringly obvious thing that stands out in this game also is just that we're performing a great many illegal maneuvers with positioning, but this is a quick play game, so this is sort of to be expected, and our team is very much encouraging us to do this as well, so I'm not gonna belabor the point super hard, but that's the thing that stands out the most. But we've already talked about that, like, more or less the entire way through the video, so. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.